Welcome to day 2 of Locked On's Top 50 Most Valuable NFL Players presented by the Summer of Dave. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. I'm Kainani Stevens. This is not just your normal MVP conversation. This list was built in conjunction with our partners at BetOnline. The value of a player when it comes to making the point spread for each game is what we're looking at. So how much does your favorite player move the line? You're going to want to stick with us all week to find out as we release 10 players each day from our top 50 list. Naturally, this list is going to include a ton of quarterbacks, but who else cracked our top 50 and which quarterbacks are the most valuable? We'll break it all down for our Locked On hosts, or with our Locked On hosts, I should say, who cover these teams every single day. Yesterday, we covered 50 through 41, which left us off at Deebo Samuel. Today, we kick things off with BetOnline's 40th most valuable player, Justin Jefferson, wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings.
Who is more valuable to their team, Justin Jefferson or Stefon Diggs? Because BetOnline has a list of their most valuable players, and Justin Jefferson comes in one slot behind Stefon Diggs, 39 and 40 respectively. Justin Jefferson, the 40th most valuable player. That puts him 5th among wide receivers behind Kupp, Davante Adams, Jamar Chase, and Stefon Diggs. And I do think all 4 of those are fair. I think Stefon Diggs does a ton for the Bills, and I think the Josh Allen renaissance, a lot of that is, I think, owed to Diggs, especially, he can erase the odd inaccurate pass, and that was a big thing for Allen. So I kind of feel like without Stefon Diggs, Josh Allen might not be as good. And I think that effect is probably greater in Buffalo than it is in Minnesota. Without Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins will still have, guys like Thielen and Osborne and stuff. So sure, putting him in the top 5, though, I've kind of yet to see a wide receiver list without Justin Jefferson in its top 5. That seems to be a sort of consensus. And shoot, who am I to disagree? If you want to hear me just rave about Justin Jefferson all the time, you can find that on the Locked On Vikings podcast, which is free and available wherever you find your favorite shows.
Another wide receiver with ties to the Vikings, number 39 on our list. With a new team now, he's had the 2 best receiving seasons of his career since leaving Minnesota. With his eyes on a potential Super Bowl run, number 39 is Stefon Diggs, wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills.
It is no surprise to see Stefon Diggs among the highest-ranked players on the list. I'm Joe Marino with Locked On Bills, and Stefon Diggs is extremely valuable to the Buffalo Bills because he is wide receiver 1 for one of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL today. He's logged 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons and earned Pro Bowl honors in each of his first 2 seasons in Buffalo. He's emerged as a team captain for the Bills and provided Josh Allen with a legitimate go-to targets to all levels of the field. For more on Stefon Diggs and his value to the Buffalo Bills, subscribe to Locked On Bills, free and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Also, like Justin Jefferson, our next player burst onto the scene in his rookie season with more than 1,400 yards receiving and took it all the way to Rookie of the Year honors and a Super Bowl appearance. He'll try to prove he's more than just a one-hit wonder. Not that anybody's doubting him at this point. Number 38 is Jamar Chase, wide receiver from the Cincinnati Bengals.
Is 38th too low for Jamar Chase? Hi again, everyone. I'm James Rapien of the Locked On Bengals podcast, and the reigning Offensive Rookie of the Year, 38th in the first ever Locked On Most Valuable Player rankings, according to BetOnline. And look, Chase, the 5th overall pick in 2021, had as good of a rookie season as you could ask for. 1,455 yards, 81 receptions, 13 touchdowns, set a Bengals franchise record for yards in his first season, and was an explosive, a dynamic game changer for Cincinnati's offense alongside Joe Burrow, and really gives the Bengals one of the scariest 1-2 punches in the NFL. As far as Chase is concerned, he's still young at 22 years old, and I think he will continue to rise up this list. 38th, probably a bit low, especially when you look at guys like Jonathan Taylor ahead of him. Jamar Chase is a game changer and could end up being the best receiver in the NFL. For more on Jamar Chase and his value, make sure you check out the Locked On Bengals podcast.
Injuries kept our next player off the field for part of the 2021 season, but that didn't stop him from making the Pro Bowl. In fact, he's never missed the Pro Bowl in his 5 professional seasons. Trying to make it 6 in a row and move some betting lines around along the way. Number 37 is Alvin Kamara, running back for the New Orleans Saints.
As excited as Saints fans should be about his placement on the list, there's some concern around Alvin Kamara's value in 2022. I'm Ross Jackson, host of the Locked On Saints podcast. Running back Alvin Kamara is very valuable to the New Orleans Saints based on what he's able to do as a pass catcher as well as a runner out of the backfield. He's the Saints' most versatile weapon over on the offensive side, and effectively since 2017, since he was drafted and won Offensive Rookie of the Year, has watched the New Orleans Saints offense incorporate him and build around him more and more every season. However, with Alvin Kamara coming in at 37 on this list, it does go to show you that he's one of the more valuable running backs, particularly 6th on this list in the NFL, which could be bad news for the New Orleans Saints, who could be without him for as many as 6 games in 2022 after an offseason altercation has led to his arrest. We'll see where the legal process goes throughout all of it, but it could be that Alvin Kamara's value, which is evident here on this list, could end up working against the New Orleans Saints in 2022. For more on Alvin Kamara, what's going on around his availability and his ranking, make sure you subscribe to the Locked On Saints podcast, free and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming back, a run for the running back position, including one with a big question mark for their quarterback. That's coming up next. Locked On's Top 50 NFL Most Valuable Players list is presented by the Summer of Dave. We've all been in that position before where we need cash fast, whether it's either just for gas to pay our bills, if you have an event coming up. And Dave is the banking app that can help you do that. They can give you $500 instantly with extra cash. All you need to do is download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. You sign up for an extra cash account and you can get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve. Member FDIC. Continuing our Locked On NFL Top 50 Most Valuable Players list presented by the Summer of Dave. Dave is a banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. The next player on our list is a model of consistency in the ground game. He ranked 2nd in rushing yards per game last season, and he is 4th among all active players for career in yards per game as well. BetOnline's 36th most valuable player is Nick Chubb, running back for the Cleveland Browns.
This is Jeff Lloyd, host of Locked On Browns. To extrapolate a little bit more on the Browns' top ball carrier, Nick Chubb, 1,200 yards per season through his first 4 years in the NFL. That includes a rookie year where he was not given a lot of playing time. It includes 7 games missed over the last 2 years. Nick Chubb, at times, we've talked about this, even did an episode about this. Myles Garrett may be the most talented player on the Cleveland Browns, but Nick Chubb is by far the most valuable. His ability to close out games in the 4-minute offense, his ability to take one to the house late in the game against tired defense. It's been incredible to this point. Nick Chubb's run in Cleveland has been fantastic leading up to the contract extension he deserved. One thing that'll hold Nick Chubb back in any type of MVP talk: he is not a top receiver, doesn't get the amount of opportunities a lot of other running backs do, but the Cleveland Browns know exactly what they have in number 24. For more on Nick Chubb and his talents, check out Locked On Browns wherever you get your podcasts.
Rookie running backs get a lot of work if they're good enough to earn the starting spot, and number 35 in the top 50 was no exception last season. He led the NFL in touches as a rookie, and he used them well en route to a trip to the Pro Bowl. BetOnline's number 35 most valuable player is Najee Harris, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Najee Harris being listed as the only offensive Steeler to be on this list makes actual sense. If you look back at what he contributed to the Steelers last year with 1,200 yards on the ground and 467 yards through the air, you saw that when he contributed to the offense and had 80 or more yards all purpose or was able to get a touchdown or both, the Steelers were in good straits. When the Steelers bounced back and went on a 4-game win streak in the middle of the season, That was because Najee Harris was going off with several big games against teams like the Broncos, like the Browns, and like the Bears. Even in the tie against the Lions, Najee Harris was a big factor in keeping them in the game while they were trying to compensate for not having Ben Roethlisberger. And that's just what they're going to have to do this year as they look to Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett as their starting quarterback. Najee Harris is going to be the focal point of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, making him a very influential player when it comes to how games will be determined. His success or failure will probably determine a lot of their wins this season.
We go from a rookie running back to a veteran and anchor of his offense. He has 3 straight seasons with at least 1,100 rushing yards, and he has never averaged less than 4.5 yards per carry. Who knows where the Minnesota Vikings would be without number 34 on our list, running back Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook, the 5th most valuable non-quarterback in the league. That's a hot take from BetOnline. What's up? Luke Braun here from Locked On Vikings. They have Dalvin Cook right now at number 34 on this top 50 list of the most valuable players. And it's line movers. So if Dalvin Cook doesn't play, the line will move the 34th most out of anybody in the league, whether or not they will play in that game. I gotta say, and this seems really fantasy driven because in this list, the first non-quarterback is Derrick Henry. The second non-quarterback is Jonathan Taylor, and then Cooper Kupp, Davante Adams, and Dalvin Cook is next. Everybody else is quarterbacks, which, sure, that makes sense. But there's a lot of running backs on there. And I don't think Dalvin Cook belongs on this list. I love Dalvin Cook, and I do think he's more important than, your typical running back. And I think he's worth, paying a decent contract to. But I don't think he belongs on a list like this of line movers of Dalvin Cook's out of the game. The Vikings now have to be favored by, 4 less points or whatever. That just doesn't compute with me, both because, just the general replaceability of running backs, but also because his skill set in general, while very valuable, it's so hard for me to argue for that over somebody like Aaron Donald or Jalen Ramsey, who are 47 and 48 on this list. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater, but I don't think Dalvin Cook belongs on this list at all. But if you want to hear about Dalvin Cook and the impact he does have outside of weird national rankings lists that only go 50 deep in the entire league, you can find that on the Locked On Vikings podcast, free and available wherever you find your favorite shows.
Coming up, a surprising quarterback in a new home is making the list, and it could leave a lot of people scratching their heads or throwing things. That's coming up next. Locked On's top 50 most valuable NFL players list is sponsored by Built Bar, the best tasting protein bars on the market. They're all made with 100% real chocolate, so they taste great, but they're also high in protein, low in fat, low in calories, low in sugar as well. And they come in a bunch of different flavors. Their newest one, Coconut Brownie Chunk Puff, definitely something you want to check out with that protein-infused marshmallow. If you head over to Built.com, you can use our promo code LOCKED15. It gets you 15% off of your order. You just put in promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off of your order at Built.com. Continuing our Locked On NFL Top 50 Most Valuable Players list presented by the Summer of Dave. Dave is a banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. The first quarterback in our top 50 list is hoping year 2 with his new team goes better than the first. The former number 1 overall pick suffered his first losing season as a starter in 2021. BetOnline's 33rd most valuable player is Jarod Goff, quarterback for the Detroit Lions.
Hey, how about Jarod Goff making a top 50 list? I'm Matt Derry with Locked On Lions, and yes, the Detroit quarterback checks in at number 33, and I can totally see that. I understand we're still in a rebuild here in Detroit, but year 2, and there are some expectations for the Lions to maybe double that win total to at least 6 and show some improvement in 2022. This team will not get any better if Goff isn't driving that bus. He's been an excellent leader on and off the field and a model citizen, and his play got better at the end of last year once Dan Campbell took over the play calling duties. This year, he's got some legit weapons in DJ Chark and Jamison Williams, and even a healthy Quintez Cephas. But if Goff gets hurt or really struggles, the backup quarterbacks are not very good. For more on Goff and his value to the Lions, subscribe to Locked On Lions, free and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Getting back to a starting role for the first time in a while, number 32 on the top 50 hopes he can reignite what looked like the start of a promising career at one point, now that he's found a home in Atlanta. Matt Ryan is out, and the shoes to fill go to quarterback Marcus Mariota.
Aaron Freeman here, host of Locked On Falcons, and I think number 32 is a good spot for Marcus Mariota. He's not going to get that much love on people's various quarterback rankings because it's a what have you done for me lately type of league. It's been 3 entire seasons since we've seen Mariota play decent to good football. His last year as a starter with the Titans in 2019 wasn't a lot of positives that year that led ultimately to his benching. And here in Atlanta, this upcoming season is a prime opportunity for Mariota to change the narrative and remind people why he's a former Heisman Trophy winner, why he was deserving of being that number 2 overall selection. And we may have to see him do a lot of heavy lifting, given that we know that the Falcons roster isn't particularly stacked this year. So it'll be fascinating to watch what Mariota brings to the table here in Atlanta. This is a golden opportunity for him to remind folks that he's still a capable and high-level starting quarterback in this league. So for continued coverage of Marcus Mariota and the Atlanta Falcons, subscribe to Locked On Falcons, free and available wherever you get your podcasts.
One of the biggest moves of the offseason sent our next player to a new team and the new toughest division in football. If you combine the last 2 seasons, he has more receiving yards than anybody in the NFL, and now he has his old college teammate throwing him the football. Can he do it without Aaron Rodgers, though? BetOnline believes he can. Number 31 is Davante Adams, wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders.
The second wide receiver off the board and the third skill player. There's actually a running back in the top 30, which kind of surprised me, not because the running back's not a great running back and he doesn't deserve to be really high on the list, but because we know the value of running backs in the NFL is not as high as what it used to be. So kind of surprised to see one running back in the top 25 and then one other wide receiver ahead of Davante Adams, but not a bad spot. I think he's going to provide a lot for Derek Carr and the Raiders offense. Of course, with Josh McDaniels calling all the shots now in Las Vegas, should be a good dynamic in 2022. Maybe with another big-time season like he always has, Davante Adams will be even higher on this list a season from now. For more on this and a lot more, make sure to tune in to the Locked On Raiders podcast.
That's it for today. There are only a few non-quarterbacks left, and they hit the list tomorrow on the Locked On NFL Top 50 Most Valuable Players list, according to BetOnline, where the game starts. Follow your favorite Locked On NFL shows to get more analysis of our top 50 list. Locked On, your team every day.